Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast from AM to PM. A little impromptu podcast today. If you're watching the video podcast, we're just gonna move around. We're gonna feel the groove.
Yeah, move
around. We got things to do around the house, so you may come with us on this a little bit. But so this kind of came up. This topic came up of falling out of love.
Do you want to turn? I'm sorry. You want to turn the TV off?
No, they can't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Falling out of love, right? It kind of came up over the weekend.
Yeah.
Just the thought process of it and everything, and kind of how we conquer that.
Right. So, and I think it's evolving, right? Like you're constantly evolving your relationship.
Yeah. And I don't mean like falling out of love necessarily from like you need marriage counseling, like, it's coming to an end type of thing. We need to fix this type. That's not always. Sometimes that is the case.
But it's just like life gets busy. Yeah. And you're just become parents and coworkers and not husband and wife.
We find oftentimes, I've said this many times, is that we often give our worst to the people that mean the most to us. Right?
Right.
Like we give the least to the people that mean the most to us. So when other things come up, other priorities come up, like we prioritize the ones that we feel the most secure with, we prioritize them the least. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I have a busy day today, so I'm going to put you off because you're secure and you're not going anywhere.
Right.
I'm not going to lose you.
Right.
Whereas I might lose this opportunity if I don't prioritize that.
Sure.
And there's always a give and take of being, understanding in that situation, of course. You know, when things come up and whatnot, and you have to be smart about that. But it can get too much too often.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Well, and the biggest thing for us is just communicating.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing in any relationship is communication. It's key. That's the number one thing that can make or break a relationship a lot of times.
I agree.
It's just communicating how you feel. And that took us a long time to get there, though.
Yeah. Well, it's something. So, and here's a funny thing. We're kind of bouncing around because, different things came up. We spent the weekend together in Chicago. We had a fantastic time. We're it helps to remind us, and you don't have to go off on, to some other state or anything for these things to happen. Riding in the car today, Priscilla reaches over and just touches my arm, and rubs on my arm. And, little things like that for me, I'm like, that means a lot to me.
Aww.
That's special to me.
Yeah.
And her and I have had this conversation before. Something that we worked on was I felt like I was expected to be the affectionate one. I was expected to be the romantic one. That was all on me, and that's how I felt about it. And I shared that with Priscilla, and since then, she's been a lot more. She meets me further than the middle, more on my side with a lot of that stuff. She'll rub my back when she walks by or initiate a kiss or something. It's not all up to me. And that's, that was something, and like Priscilla said, communication, right? I communicated that, we could kind of fix that issue, so.
Well, and part of it is I was reading too much into it because Ace is not a toucher, and so he doesn't like to be touched. And so I'm like, okay, well, fine, then I won't touch you, So, but
if you, text me, and I can put it on the calendar, hey, let's cuddle, then I'll be okay. We can, but just random touching throughout the day, I'm like, nobody touches me. I'm not touched. I'm not a hugger. I'm not I'm none of those things. Yeah, we see friends, and Priscilla go hug them, and then I feel obligated because she hugged them. That I gotta hug them too.
And he's so awkward about it. I love the people that know he's not a hugger.
It's always the.
But I love the people that know he's not a hugger, and they're like, so I know you're not a hugger, but you're hugging me.
Yeah.
This is happening whether you like it or not.
Or they give me crap when I will initiate a hug, we're hugging now?
Yeah.
We're hugging? We saw a friend this weekend, and she was like, we're hugging? Oh, okay. I was just going to fist bump you. But
so a lot of the Lime Life girls, we're all huggers. Yeah. And so it's just poor Asa. You got to get out of your comfort zone a little,
That's my anti-love language, and Priscilla recognizes that, though. But it means a lot to me that when you do initiate, touch, just in general. And, it's going that extra step for me. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But her showing me that, I am her protector or if old fashioned if you want it to be. I don't care. We're old fashioned. So
We are. We're Southern.
I'm her protector, or she lets me open jars for her. I don't think she actually needs help with stuff like that, but.
Y'all have seen, sometimes I do.
But no, we've had a lot, and we don't portray that on camera as much. We've had a lot of situations, especially recently, where we had to sit down and like, hey, we need to rekindle here, and we need to work on this. And it's
so when Abigail was younger, we looked at her diagnosis as a project, and whether that be right or wrong, that's just how it was. And so we both were working on this project. You had your part, I had my part, and that's just what we did. Well, then Abigail grew up, Isaiah grew up. And what we've noticed is that Isaiah now being gone, we are back to only being autism parents. And so once again, it's like, she's our project. And I know that word probably sounds terrible, but you have to understand, like, that's just how I'm using that word right now.
Well, it's more the diagnosis. It's not the person.
Right. Yeah. And so our whole goal right now is to make sure that we're doing the best for Abigail. And so we get so wrapped up in that sometimes that becomes our main focus. So then we start to lose ourselves as a married couple. And so that's why I think a lot of times we're like, okay, take a deep breath, like reset, turn me on, turn me back off. Like Asa, every time something's wrong with technology, he turns it off, turn it back on, and it works again. Wow, no.
You turned me on, you better turn me off. It's like, wait, what? We didn't talk about this part in the pre-show notes.
There were no pre-show notes, sorry. Okay. You just said
I got
this
you.
is the topic.
Unplug you, plug you back in again.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have to like reset as a married couple, And so that's kind of like this weekend, it was a work trip, but we kind of reset as a married couple, And so now we're going to be good.
Yeah. For a while.
And we're still...
But if we don't work on it, we go right back into that again.
Right. And it's not that we don't love each other or that we don't want to be with each other. Like, that's not it. And so if you see people going through that, like, don't think the worst. Because it's not necessarily, they're just not. Why are you staring at me right now?
Because you're the one talking.
Oh. But they just need to reset.
Yeah.
They just need to turn each other off and turn each other back on.
Don't think your marriage is over. Just because, don't think like, oh, we've lost the fire. It's still there. Okay. It's like you're like a water heater.
You're
know
like
what I'm saying?
hot air balloon.
You got if that goes out, you're crashing. If you have enough fire, you're going to die. So that's a bad analogy.
Water heater.
More like a water heater,
I watched a thing about
you got
hot air balloons.
That pilot light, even though you got to crawl down your hands and knees and look up and see that pilot light is lit or not, it's still there. It's still that little tiny pilot light just going. Yeah. You just got to apply the heat, Give it more fuel.
Yeah.
You give it more fuel, poof. Things are boiling hot. You know what I'm saying? It's a good analogy.
Oh, gosh.
Right? Your love life is a water heater. That's just look at it like that.
You better be paying that bill.
We're cooking with grease. Let's go. Pay that electric bill. I swear. Okay, so yeah, that was kind of our whole. We didn't move around at all during this podcast, but I did want to share that because it was definitely something on my mind because it was something that we were able to do this weekend, and you don't have to get away from home to do it.
Right.
The other night we had a movie night.
Yeah.
Where we sat down. That definitely I got that same vibe, that same feeling. We had that movie night. We sat down there, we held hands, we watched a movie together, ate some popcorn or what. Just taking those little moments. I do believe you need that.
We also, even if you can't get out of the house, so Monday nights, Abigail usually goes and hangs out with her girlfriends for like a girls' night. Well, I cook on Monday nights, so I'll send her dinner with her, and Ace and I will sit here and have dinner together.
Yep.
Like, it's in our own home, so if you don't have anywhere for the kids to go, wait till they go to bed and have dinner together.
Communicate. Set rules early on. Don't sit down to have dinner with your significant other and halfway through the meal be like, you were on your phone the whole time. You know, both of us are guilty with that. Like, we need to set the rules ahead of time. You
Yeah.
know, and be like, hey, you want to try no phones tonight? You know,
Yeah.
but communicate that ahead of time, because then your partner feels guilt.
Right.
You know, and that's no way to start a conversation.
Yeah.
Communicate it ahead of time. Say, hey, this is what I had in mind. Why don't we sit down together? Like, maybe do no phones. You know, leave the TV off and have dinner together.
Yep.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
So that's our little tidbit on marriage today.
tip.
So just stuff that came up in our lives. We want to share with you guys, a little impromptu podcast for you. I hope you have a fantastic week. I promise we'll see you Monday. I'm putting that out there right now. We
Yes.
missed the last 2 weeks. I apologize. We will see you on Monday with some other nuggets of marriage wisdom or parenting or something completely useless, but we're just going to have a good time talking to each other.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
Bye.